Dust off, this is Python 2-6. We have urgent surgical. LZ is hot, I say again. Landing zone is hot. How copy, over? That call. Dust off. It was one of the most urgent and most hopeful signals on the battlefield in Vietnam. It meant a Medevac helicopter was incoming. It meant that if you were wounded, you might just make it. But that call, LZ is hot, meant the landing zone was under active enemy fire. It meant the pilots were being asked to fly directly into a Hellstorm, and they weren't flying alone. In the back of that unarmed, vulnerable helicopter was a different kind of warrior. While the pilots fought the controls and the enemy fire, these men and women fought to keep a soldier alive long enough to reach a surgeon. This is a story of unparalleled courage, not just with a rifle, but with a medkit. This is the story of the angels of the Medevac. Welcome to Top Tier TV. The war in Vietnam presented a medical nightmare. The fighting was spread across dense, steamy jungles and remote highlands, far from the well-equipped surgical hospitals on the coast. Before the widespread use of medical evacuation helicopters, a wounded soldier's chance of survival depended on a long, agonizing, and bumpy journey by truck or stretcher. Many simply didn't make it. The UH-1 Iroquois, the Huey, changed everything. It became the ambulance of the sky. But unlike the ground ambulances of previous wars, this one had to fly directly into the fight to pick up its patients. The official call sign for these missions was Dust Off, and it became a legend. The Dust Off creed was simple and brutal, so that others may live. The pilots of these unarmed ships, marked only with a red cross, volunteered for this duty. They knew the statistics. They knew that Medevac helicopters were shot down at a staggering rate. They knew that a hot LZ meant they were a slow, loud, and perfect target. But when that call came in, they went. But the pilot's job was to get to the LZ and get out. The fight to keep the wounded soldier alive during those critical minutes belonged to the crew in the back, the flight medics and nurses. These were not just orderlies, they were highly trained medical professionals operating in the most chaotic ER imaginable. Imagine the scene. The helicopter is shaking violently, descending into a clearing where bullets are cutting through the air. The noise is deafening. The roar of the engine, the thump of the blades, the radio chatter, and the explosion of incoming and outgoing fire. And in the middle of this, the medic or nurse is assessing the patient, often before the helicopter has even touched the ground. They worked on their knees, in a space no bigger than a closet, with the wind whipping through the open doors. Their tools were tourniquets, IV bags, bandages, and their own two hands. There was no room for error, no time for hesitation. They were performing emergency medicine while the war tried its best to interrupt. And crucially, many of these angels were women. U.S. Army nurses volunteered for flight duty, serving with incredible distinction and courage. They brought a unique resolve to this horrific battlefield, providing not just medical care, but a moment of profound humanity and comfort for a terrified, wounded soldier. To a young man bleeding out in the mud of a rice paddy, the face of a nurse leaning over him must have truly seemed like that of an angel. The entire mission was a race against the golden hour, the critical window to get a casualty to a surgical team. From the moment the dust-off call went out, the clock was ticking. The pilot would navigate to the coordinates, often under fire. The crew chief would lay down suppressing fire with an M60 machine gun if they had one. Though many ships flew truly unarmed, the landing was never a full stop. It was a hover, just long enough for the medics to leap into the fray and haul the wounded on board. Inside, the real battle began. The medic or nurse had mere minutes to stabilize the patient before the helicopter reached the hospital. They fought to stop bleeding, clear airways, treat for shock, and manage pain, all while the helicopter juked and weaved to avoid ground fire on the way out. The skill and calm they displayed under such conditions defies belief. Because of them, because of the pilots who flew into the inferno and the medical crews who fought death in the back, the survival rate for wounded soldiers who reached a medical facility in Vietnam was over 98%, the highest in any war in history. That number isn't just a statistic, it is a testament to their collective, unbelievable bravery. The story of the dust-off crews is one of the most profound of the Vietnam War. It's a story that transcends politics and strategy. It is a pure story of human beings risking everything for the simple, sacred idea that no soldier should be left behind, and that every possible effort must be made to save a life. Pilots, the medics, the nurses, the angels of the Medevac, they represent the best of us in the worst of times. They didn't fight to take lives, they fought to save them, and in doing so, they earned a place of eternal respect. If you believe these stories of incredible courage and compassion deserve to be remembered, do us a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe to Top Tier TV. We are dedicated to honoring the stories of those who serve, and we want to hear from you in the comments. What other stories of medical bravery or rescue missions from history should we cover? Let's get a conversation going. Thanks for watching. Until next time on Top Tier TV.